Which exercises should you avoid in the gym? On the next back and body video. Hi, Dr. Dave Pern here with Back and Body, your combined care practice offering physical therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, and medical in the New York City area, specifically in Midtown Manhattan. Also servicing Union County, New Jersey, specifically on Route 22 in Springfield, New Jersey. Today we're going to go over 4 exercises that should be avoided in a gym. I go to the gym fairly frequently, and I've been asked by a lot of people, which exercise would you avoid, or should I try this? So let's discuss 4 that are pretty much given that everybody agrees that are a bad idea. The first one is the behind the neck press. This is a shoulder press where the barbell ends up behind your head and is extended overhead from that position. While some Olympic weightlifters have come back to like that exercise to increase the range of motion for a lockout, if you are not doing Olympic weightlifting, it is an exercise you should avoid. Reason being, it places an undue stress on the shoulder in end ranges of motion. If something were to go wrong or the weight was to be unbalanced, it can cause some significant issues. Speaking of shoulders, that brings us to our second exercise, which is the barbell upright row. The motion of a barbell doing an upright row is very similar to the motion of a test called empty bottle sign, where we're going to push on the arm while the shoulder in the humerus is internally rotated. This puts a lot of stress on the supraspinatus. So doing something where you're putting a lot of weight into your hands while you're bringing your elbows upright will forcibly internally rotate the shoulder while raising up. This can jam an area of the bone against the supraspinatus or cause shoulder impingement syndrome. On a previous video we talked about this and how this can be very problematic for a person. This muscle is part of the rotator cuff and can be extremely uncomfortable when doing overhead activities. So it would be best to avoid that exercise completely. Exercise to do instead would be a lateral raise or in addition to adding in a shrug. Speaking of shrugs, an exercise added in that we should talk about is rolling your shoulders while shrugging. If you're trying to get a better angle, you're better off not only just doing an upright shrug while standing, but laying down or laying on an inclined bench and shrugging on an upward angle where the shoulders will go up and back at the same time. Now for core exercises, a lot of people often do a crunch with a twist. They figure, let's get a couple muscle groups done at the same time. This is not a good idea, and I've talked about this many times with my patients in the past, and we've actually seen quite a number of patients over the years who have done some sort of twisting motion in the gym and had immediate discomfort and pain radiating down their leg. The reason this movement is so dangerous is flexion and rotation create an undue amount of stress on the disc. The nucleus or center of the disc is then pushed back into the side all at the same time. The outer layers of the disc are multi-layered. When you rotate, they line up. Plywood is very strong because of the layers running in different directions. If the same wood were to have all the planes of wood in the same direction, it wouldn't be as strong. The same principle applies for the outer layers of the disc. So this is why a rotation with flexion is such a bad idea. Along the lines of creating undue stress on the back is any exercise where the body has a rounded back or inflection while holding weight. Examples of this are a stiff-legged deadlift with a rounded back. These are quite dangerous. You're adding the compressive force of the weight held in the hands in the motion where it is putting the discs at its most vulnerable state. Now, final note on this is a lot of people say, I do these exercises and I don't have a problem. Well, a lot of these injuries can be caused through repetitive stress. What I'm pointing out with these several exercises I talked about isn't necessarily always an immediate danger, although the twisting with rotation with weight a lot of times will yield immediate discomfort and pain. Some of the other ones are more a result of a repetitive stress injury. If you suffer from a repetitive stress injury through weightlifting or any other activities, please visit us at backandbodyny.com or give us a call. Our chiropractors, physical therapists, and acupuncturists work with people who have weightlifting or repetitive stress injuries, whether it's in the gym or at work all the time.